friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to rank all of Riley Sager's thriller novels. There are 5 of them here. We're going to go through them. I'm going to tell you like a little bit about what they're about, and then I will rank them from my least favorite to my most favorite. If you do not know, Riley Sager is actually a pseudonym of a former editor, journalist, graphic designer named Todd Ritter. For 15 years, he worked as an editor and journalist. About 5 years ago, he got laid off and he was considering returning to school to become a librarian. However, he thought he would go ahead and write Final Girls, and if it took off and it was a success, like, he would continue doing that. If it flopped, he was going to be a librarian. That was the plan. As a last-ditch effort, he wrote Final Girls, and it was a success. So every year we've been getting new thrillers by Riley Sager, and I couldn't be happier. So we're going to go ahead and talk about his debut first. So Final Girls was published in 2017. This follows 3 women that survived horror movie scale massacres. So basically think like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Jason, those type of movies. The woman left over at the end that survives it and makes it out of the craziness, that's a final girl. So in the press you have 3 final girls, and one of the final girls at the start of this novel is found dead. 2 final girls left, and one of the final girls goes to Quincy's house, and everything starts getting a little muddled. It's not making sense, and Quincy's life is turned upside down. The next novel that he published is The Last Time I Lied, which was published in 2018, and I know you guys already know that this is like one of my all-time favorites. So this is 15 years ago. Emma was at this summer camp and her cabin mates went missing, and now 15 years later she's returning to the camp as like an art teacher, and she's trying to see if she can find any clues to what actually happened. Definitely like slasher movie vibes and summer camp vibes, and yeah, all of the things. 2019, Riley Sager released Lock Every Door, which follows Jewel, an apartment setter that gets this really prestigious job at this building in Manhattan called the Bartholomew, and it's a very mysterious building. The job comes with a lot of rules and, in my opinion, a lot of red flags. But yeah, so that was this one. Last summer in 2020, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager released, and this one follows Maggie in the present and also in the past. So when she was a young child, her family lived in this house, and her father ended up writing a book about it, and that book always talked about how it was like haunted and they had to escape. It was like known as this horror house, and Maggie doesn't remember like too much. She remembers bits and pieces, but she doesn't know if it's just like because of her dad's book or if it's because of what actually happened in the house. So the beginning of this novel, Maggie's father has died, and she finds out that even though she always thought that the house was sold off when they left, he actually still owns it, and he leaves the house to her, and she is a fixer-upper type person, so she's going to the house to fix it up and sell it. So when she gets there, things start happening, and you're getting parts of the book and parts what's happening and flashbacks to the past, and this is like kind of like a ghost story. I really did like the book like pieces of it, and I know this is a lot of people's favorite, so that's that one. The only thing that kind of disturbed me is everything had this slash. In all of his previous books, this one had one right down here, and this one had it in the eyes of the words, and then like this one did not. So I don't know what happened with this one. And then finally, most recently, he released Survive the Night, which follows a girl that is leaving school and returning home, and she goes to a rideshare board and decides that she needs a ride home. She's looking for a ride, and this guy's like, hey, I'm going in that direction. They decide it's a good fit, and she decides to get a ride home from him. One of the reasons why she's going home is her roommate was murdered, and she suspects it was the campus killer. And then as she's getting this ride home from this guy that she doesn't know very much about, she begins to suspect that he is the campus killer. So I do have a reading vlog a release day reading vlog of this. Actually, it was at night because I didn't get it until later in the day and ended up binging it at night. But yeah, so I have that, and I don't know if I have vlogs for any of his other books, but I have talked about them at length because they are some of my favorites. I recommend all of them. So I'll tell you that I actually read this one first. So this was the first one that I read, even though it was his sophomore novel, and I rated the story 5 out of 5 stars, and I have reread it once. I picked up Final Girls at the book exchange. It has that little sticker on there. So yeah, I actually got this one from the book exchange and I read it next. Then I read them in publication order from there. Right, so now let's go ahead and jump into my ranking. And like I said, this does shift and change with my mood, except for probably like my favorite. But I will say that sometimes my ranking, I have done a few other ranking videos as well, and I will link those in the description box for you. But my ranking doesn't necessarily match up with my star ratings all the time. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So coming in at number 5 is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. And that means that coming in at number 4 is Final Girls by Riley Sager. Now, this one I still remember very vividly, and I think it will probably remain in like the 5th or the 4th spot. Now, Final Girls, it's been a while since I've read it, so I would like to go back and reread it. But these are kind of interchangeable to me because, like I said, it's been so long since I've read this one, and I just didn't really jive with this one. There were parts about it that I really did like, but it was the ending that kind of made me not like this one as much. The beginning was very cool. Well, it's actually, the beginning was quite slow. The middle was good, but the ending was, I didn't like it. So yes, so right now we have number 5, number 4. Coming in 3rd place is Home Before Dark. I really did like this one. All throughout it, I was interested. And I really did like how we got the story that her dad wrote, like the book that her dad wrote, and like the present day. But what I didn't like about this is at the end, there were just a couple of things that didn't quite make sense to me, and they're so minor. And I have talked to people about it, and people are like, yeah, but whatever. But to me, those were just, I don't know. He could have easily used the same thing but made it a little bit more believable, I'll say. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I was just being like super harsh on this one. But yeah, this one I really do have like actually fond memories of. I really do like it. And obviously that means that these two are in my 1st and 2nd place. And to be completely honest, they're probably interchangeable, but coming in at number 2 is Survive the Night, and coming in 1st place is The Last Time I Lied. I think I really connect with this because, like I said, and I have talked about it a lot, is every time that I read this book, I think about this book, I have the memories of reading it in my parents' cabin in the middle of the woods. So, and since she's staying in a cabin in a summer camp in the middle of the woods, I felt like I was there. I felt like I was in the story. How secluded and dark it gets there at night because they are surrounded by trees and stuff, so it does block out a lot of the sky, and there's no stores around them or anything like that for that, light. And there's lots of animal noises: deers, foxes, coyotes, crickets, frogs, cicadas, all of the things. So because I felt like I didn't read this on audio because it had just released, I just felt immersed in the story. So when things were happening in this book, it just had me so on edge. So because I feel like I've lived this book, I feel like that's why I love it the most. And also, I do really just like the story. And this is one of the books that always sticks out in my mind, I'll say, of a book that just was like twist after twist after twist after twist. Because it was, the only reason I really remember that is because I was sitting down at the table. My mom was at work, and it was me and my dad. And he, saw me like reading this and stuff like that. And he was like, okay, so what's that book about that you're reading? So I was telling him, and then I'd make it a little bit further and I'd go, and he'd be like, well, what happened? And I'd be like, oh, we just found out blah, blah, blah. Can you believe that? And then I'd be reading a little bit more and I'd be like, and he'd be like, what? I'd be like, oh my gosh, it wasn't that. It was this. Oh my gosh. So it just had me like so back and forth. And because I was explaining literally every plot twist to my dad, we were both kind of on this roller coaster ride with this. So yeah, so I have very fond memories of this. It will probably always be my number one, even if there is a better story, just because of the nostalgia that I have built into this reading experience and all of that. But yeah, I absolutely love Riley Sager. I've had everything from a 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star rating across his books. I will continue to buy his books as soon as he publishes them because they're always some of my absolute favorites. That's all for this video. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you suspected that this was going to be my number one favorite Riley Sager book. I bet you no one is surprised, but if you have read his books and you've read all of them, definitely let me know your ranking down in the comment section down below. Let me know which other authors you would like me to tier rank. I think I'm going to be doing Ruth Ware, but I don't know if I'm going to wait until I read like a new book by her and then do it. Anyway, I hope you're having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye.